you ever been parked up in a car having a deep conversation with someone? So have I. The Park Car Conversation at Frontier Fine Cars presents to you Driven. Let's get started. Welcome to the Park Car Conversation. We are back, Season 2, Episode 1, and we're here at Frontier Fine Cars. The team is so amazing. Won't God do it?
Won't God do it?
Won't God do it? God always makes it happen for us.
Always, always.
I want to bring it back to this time last year. Actually, before this time last year, April of last year, I posted my first Instagram video, and I just said, I want to challenge myself to step out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be talking. I'm going to talk anyways. Here we are, less than a year later, in the home of Frontier Fine Cars. I got my boy Jalen here.
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
Did you hear yourself? Less than a year.
This is the
so
power.
April, and now we're not even near there yet. Less than a year.
Less than a year.
That's growth.
That's growth.
That's growth, and I'm excited to be here today.
And this series specifically is called Driven.
Driven.
And so when our team got together and we thought about the topic of driven, the first person that came to my mind was you.
Oh, man.
And I'm not joking.
I feel good.
I literally said, I was like,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I know someone, his Jalen, Lick My Fashion. And you know what? It was so crazy because they already knew who you were.
Wow.
Then that's the kind of impact.
Crazy. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all.
Entrepreneurship can be such a beautiful thing.
Yep.
And so the whole topic of driven, I think what we really want to focus on is the fact that entrepreneurship is a journey.
Yep.
And I want to talk to Jalen because when Jalen talks, I listen. When
Drop them
Jalen drops
baby.
gems, I pick them up because
we drop them gems. That's what we do.
And you inspire me, you inspire other people. And I think you were just the perfect person to basically talk about the drive. So number one, it's Black History Month.
Yep.
And we love to see Black excellence.
Yes.
Don't we love to see it?
Yes, we'd love to see it.
We love to see it. I am all for it.
Yep.
And the fact that you are just basking, I'm going to give you your flowers while you're here. And I think
you
it's
so
really,
much.
really important.
Thank you.
That you can smell them while you're here.
Yes.
And so one, you inspire me. When I tune into Jalen's IG lives, I leave there and be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to need to start doing that. You know what I mean? Because you are pushing yourself. And I think it's just, it's transparent. And when you see other people doing, I think hopefully, when you tap into the fact that you want to do it for yourself, that you're just like, okay, yeah, you know what? If he can do it and he's telling me that I can do it, I can definitely do it. So thank you for being just a word. I thank you for not being greedy. There's a lot of people that harvest a lot of information for themselves, and you are not like that. So I can appreciate you, brother.
Thank you
Black
so much.
excellence up in the house.
Yes. Thank you. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for having me here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you to everybody who has here. Thank you to Frontier Fine Cars for coming on this and having me here. This is super awesome just to be a part of this, and just thank you for just having me. Like, I was even talking to you about the Park Car Conversation from before, and I was like, I need to be on this.
We did this.
I need to be on it, and I want to be on it now. So as much as you have me, I'm really glad that I'm here right now to speak on your platform.
My heartstrings
this
are
is
being
your
pulled.
platform. Like, I'm hyped to be on here, so it's really going to be dope.
Thank you. And so, Jalen, I know you, and a lot of people do know you, but I want you to tell them, who is Jalen? Where and why did the entrepreneurship life come for you?
Awesome. So for those of you guys know, yes, I'm Jalen. I go by the term Lick My Fashion. Lick My Fashion was pretty much a name just talking to just people specifically just, to express themselves. That word comes from expression. It comes from just being yourself. I feel like we live in a generation where everybody's so closed in a box. So that name means to just open yourself and just be true. So that's where that name came from. And I really was just tapped into fashion from years ago. My dad was the one that kind of embedded it in me because he's a fashion guru. I started with that.
Big up, Pops.
Yes, Pops. And then after that, I pretty much was working in retail, and that's when I found my love for styling because I was a visual merchandiser, and that's when you create stuff on the mannequins. So I just really like to create looks on people.
Right.
So that's pretty much how that went about. And yeah, I just became an entrepreneur last year, June 4th, 2020.
Ooh.
So it's been less than a year, and I'm excited.
Hey.
Yeah. Love it.
It's easy to get caught up in this idea that entrepreneurship is sexy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being on social media, being on Instagram, everybody shows, I have the financial freedom. I work for myself. Nobody tells me what to do. But I think people don't talk about what you don't see behind the doors. You know what I mean? Because they think it's A to Z.
Yep.
And really, when you started, now that I'm also in this journey with you of entrepreneurship, there's been moments where I'm just like, okay, cool. I didn't expect things to go like this, or I have a day where it's just off. And I'm like, okay, like I question myself, right? So I want to talk to you about what does your off day look like? What does an off day look like for Jalen?
So like you said before, just piggybacking off of what you said, entrepreneurship is a lot. It is a journey. So if you're a person who doesn't like to work every day on your brand, if you're a person who doesn't like to work, period, entrepreneurship is not for you. And also, if you don't like to experience failure, entrepreneurship is not for you either. I think when I first started, it's crazy because in 2019, I tried to be an entrepreneur and I failed because I had no vision. There was no full drive. I didn't have structure. So there was nothing really happening. It was just like, okay, I could just make money. It's just going to come to me. But that's not how entrepreneurship works. No. Like you have to have a plan, you have to have a vision, you have to have a motive, right? And behind what you want to make and what you want to do. So fast forward, I just think like, you know, an off day for me is like, I'll just be in my room, just kind of like meditating, just relaxing. I try not to really lead with emotion. One thing I really do lead with is strategy. I try to tap into leading with strategy over emotion because I feel like when you're so sucked in your feelings, you sit there and you do nothing. And that doesn't do anything for me. I don't know about anybody else, but that doesn't do anything for me. I can't just sit in a room and do nothing. So I have to lead with strategy. So I'll just kind of sit and be like, okay, Jalen, it didn't work this time, but it's going to work this time. It didn't work this time. So just take the time to kind of relax and see how you can kind of maneuver and make it work the next time. So I don't really try to, you know, pity myself or doubt myself because, you know, the devil can come in real quick and be like, hey, you know, this is not for you. Don't do it. Don't do this. But you have to be you have to stand firm in you and you have to stand firm in your faith and understand that it's going to work. So I just sit there and I'm like, devil, don't do this. I'm going to have a new plan. I'm going to have a new goal, a new drive. And if it didn't work this time, I'm going to make sure it works the second time. So yeah, I just kind of meditate and lead with that. So. But that's pretty much what it looks like. You
guys know that was a word that I needed to hear, right? Because I am emotional. Yes. Especially if I think I have those days where my thoughts will take me over. And I'm just like, I know I believe in like affirmation, manifestation. And there's some days where I'm just like, I don't even know if this is for me. I'll be honest. I doubt myself sometimes.
And listen, we all do. Even myself, last week, I was having doubts just about my book. I was having doubts about certain things. And I was just like, Jalen, like, why?
And just, it's flying off the shelf.
Why? Like, it's coming off the shelf. Like, what are you mad about? Like, what are you worried about? Like, there's so many great things that are happening to you in your life right now. Right. And I think we always bask on the things that are not working instead of the things that are working. You know what I mean? So I think going forward, like, when something doesn't work for you, just really tap in, just sit down, just, you know, kind of figure out with a strategy. You're going to have doubts, right? So I'm not saying you can't bask in your feelings for a little bit, but we can't bask in it forever. Because the moment we do that, nothing will change for you, right? So that's what I always like to tell people.
And if you think about it, where you're going, if you stop, you cannot get there.
You can't stop.
That's period. You cannot get there. So you just have to like literally keep your foot on the gas and keep going. The next thing will work, you know? And I think a lot of people just need that word of encouragement that it's okay. There are hard days in entrepreneurship. It's not sexy all the time.
Not all the time.
It's not all pretty all the time.
Don't let them fool you. If anyone tells you, oh my God, I make my goal every day, sometimes they don't. Don't let them lie to you. Like, we all have those days. I even have those days. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't make it today. You know what? I'm going to make it triple tomorrow. You know, I'm going to make it quadruple the next day. That's how you have to think. That's how your mindset has to work. If your mindset is not equipped for those things, then you'll never get to the spot that you want to be, right? So I always tell people to challenge your mindset even when you feel weird or when you feel off. Just challenge yourself because there's so many things that you can tap into and how you can make yourself be better. So...
Okay, so let's help people who have a hard time getting to that point of understanding, like, it's okay, I can do this. What makes Jalen feel confident?
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk about you feeling confident in the field that you're in. And let's also speak on you being a Black male in the fashion industry. What is that like? Because I don't know, I'm not in the fashion industry. What is it like for you?
So going into the confidence aspect first, I don't think it wasn't a confidence issue that I really struggled with because at the end of the day, there's 7 billion people in this world, and it doesn't matter how much people in this world. Nobody's
even
like
8.
Oh, it's 8 now.
I think it's 8. It's growing.
8. Okay, it's 8 now. So yeah, there's 8 billion people in this world, and guess what? You know what the gag is? The gag is not all of them are like you. So there's multiple people in this world, and none of them have the gift that you have. None of them have the strength that you have. None of them have the courage that you have when it comes to what you do. So I think it's really understood to realize that, right? Realize that and tap into your gift and understand that, okay, like there's multiple people in this world. They may even do the same talent as me, but what I have is different for me, right? And I think that's where the confidence comes from. Because even if I may see somebody flourishing in the same thing as me, but I'm not flourishing and maybe it's just not my time yet, or maybe I'm just not doing it correctly, I always think of different like reasons or different strategies of like, okay, how can I make this better? And in terms of, you know, being a Black male in the industry, yes, it was difficult because as a stylist, you walk into a room and there's no multiculturalism at all. So I'm walking into the room and I'm the only one that looks like me. So imagine being the stylist, you know, being a Black stylist, and then there's, you know, just 4 Asians or whatnot, just different, you know, ethnicities, and I'm the only one that looks like me. Sometimes you need to have people that look like you in the room so you can feel comfortable. And that's kind of what I struggled with, because I walked in there and I'm like, nobody looks like me. And why? And I wasn't like ignorant about it at all, but it was just like, we need to have more of that. And this goes for any like ethnicity. Like everyone needs to relate to somebody in a room. So so going forward, every time I do photo shoots, I always invite off, you know, Black individuals in there, just creatives in there, so that, you know, we can all feel comfortable.
That's
right?
amazing.
That's what I want. I just want everyone to feel comfortable. I want everyone to feel free. And I want everyone to feel that motive that, okay, there's somebody in here that looks like me, so I can have the drive too. But it was definitely difficult. I've even had brands that paid me lower than another influencer because I was Black. So I've gone through that as an influencer. I've gone through that. So and I see that, and you know, it's crazy because I've never reacted in a way of like, oh, you're this or whatever. I'm just like, it's good. You know, God will take its turn. Mine is coming next. You know what I mean? And now it's like I can see the change in the brands and how they are reacting, especially in today's generation, especially now. So there's going to be times where people tell you you're not worth it or you're not valuable when it comes to your ethnicity. But I'm telling you right now, don't even listen to that. Don't even listen to that, because excellence. You are
Black
excellent. You're
excellence.
powerful. Black excellence is everything. You hear me? So yeah, keep that up.
I just want to touch on some things you said. It's powerful. I was having a goosebump moment here on the side.
Yeah.
I think for a few reasons. One, now being a mom to a Black son, right?
Yes.
I think that whatever room he goes in,
Yes.
I want him to be confident, because, you know, there has been a narrative for a lot of times where, like you said, you do get, you know, there have been opportunities where you've been paid less
because I'm the Black man, or I don't fit the standard, or I fit the figure. Like it's really just an interesting thing how it goes, but it's like what does that even mean? Like what does that even mean to you?
What
right?
does it mean
like,
if your brain and if your mind, you know your power?
Right.
Like that is your power. The fact that you stand out in a room.
Yep.
I want him to always feel comfortable.
Yes.
Right. And look at you swagging on him.
Yes.
I want my son to be like, look at this Black man swagging on him. Black excellence.
Thank you.
Number two, I think a concept always stuck to me. It's like, I think a lot of people in entrepreneurship are like, man, they're already doing it. You know what I mean? So many people do X, Y, or Z, but like, do you know how many like brands of bread are on the shelf?
Facts.
I love the raisin with the cinnamon, and my mom likes the whole grain.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there is opportunity for everybody to win. And I think a lot of people close themselves off because they're just like, well, they're eating and they're doing it well. But there's room. There's so much money in this world. Like you said,
much.
8 billion people and growing. The way I spend my money online and give my money away to other people, people are giving their money away. So there's definitely a lane for people. Like, I think it's just the most important thing, as we said, just to start. Look where we are right now. Literally,
less than a year.
I said this in 2020, and this is a vulnerable moment for me.
Yeah.
Over the years, there's been so many people who have reached out, you know, to, let's say, do work, do collabs, right? And I didn't know the lane that I was walking in. I didn't, like, I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer, I'm not a stylist. I was just someone who posted online. And so I never saw my worth, if you will. I never saw the purpose of who Jafina J. Lucci is. And then I said to myself, I had to talk with myself, right? And I'm big on affirmation. I said, okay, you are divine, okay? I'm here for a purpose. If I'm still here, if you are still here and watching, if you're watching this right now, you have a purpose. Right? And it might not be something that you get right away. You might have that moment, because I'm about to be 27. I am just now finding my.
You hear that? Just now. I'm just now touching the surface of like where I want to be. Like everything is happening right at schedule, and I'm 28. So imagine that, right? So there's no time for anything. So I don't know who's older than me or who think that there's no time. The time is, there's always time. The time is now, though. Like the time is now, and you're always gonna grasp on that. And I think that you know, as we grow older, we think that, you know, well, I'm in my 30s, you know, life is done, or I'm in my 40s.
What does that mean?
What does that even mean? Life is just beginning. life is just beginning. Your life is just beginning at that age.
Men are in their grown and sexy when they're in their 30s and 40s.
In their 30s and 40s.
Just letting you know.
Like, do you know half of your life is lived at 50? Like half of your life is at 50. So, right? So it's like,
shout out to the 30 over.
I think that when people have this motion of like, there's so many people in my lane that are doing the same thing as me. But here's the thing that you have to understand. There may be like 1 million people in one country, but they're not going to go to the same person. Not all 1 million people are going to go to the same hairstylist. Not all 1 million people are going to go to the same barber. There's going to be obviously a split and divide between each where everyone can eat. And that's just how it is. So I think people need to stop looking at the fact of who's in their scene and who's doing what they're doing, but just focusing on what they can bring to the table and what like their talents and what they have to offer.
Right.
Yeah.
And support each other.
Support.
I think it's a beautiful thing. Me and you met at a mass camp.
At a mass camp.
I was modeling a costume and he came to show love to his friend.
Yeah.
And our energy was just just
intertwined.
Cool.
Yep.
And I love that. I love that here. And I love that the team here at Frontier Fine Cars, this is more than just a car dealership. This is a full-on experience. Get the car that you love, that you've always wanted. No credit, bad credit, good credit. Honda, Toyota, Benz, Bima, whatever car you want, you can get it here. Go to frontierfinecars.com. Click apply and add in the promo code, the Park Car Conversation. You will get a free detailing of your car and also $150 for gas. Apply now. It was special. Like the team here, shout out to you guys watchers. Like seriously, like the environment was good. The energy just aligned.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when you find energy that matches yours, run with it. And like you said, there's different type of people in the world. So what works for me might not work for you.
Right.
And I think just the important thing about staying driven is just knowing that, listen, there is an audience for you. There are people that like the same music as you. There's people that like to do the same activities as you.
Yep.
Right? So keep the foot on the gas.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just, especially like I see a lot of people on social media, they'll always look at other influencers and they'll feel some type of way. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter if you have 400 followers, 500 followers. I always use this analogy. So I say, put the 400 followers in your room. Can they fit? No. You have 1,000 followers. Can they fit in your room? No. You have 2,000 followers. Can they fit in your room? No. So use that as leverage, right? Like you have an audience that's watching you. They follow you because they see something in you that you may not even see yet. Right. But you're gonna find that purpose and you're actually gonna take that into accountability and start using that and bring that purpose to them, right? So I think when people feel like, they feel too low of themselves because they don't have an audience, it doesn't matter if it's 1 people, it doesn't matter if it's 10, it doesn't matter if it's 5. As long as you're driving somebody to do something great and do something positive within their life, you won. You won.
I always tell people, if I won 60 mil on the Lotto Max tomorrow, I would still be doing things like this. Yeah. I would still be doing the Park Car Conversation.
Yes.
Stop watching your social media numbers. Right? Because I think some people will like take their popularity or their amount of like your success and relate it back to your numbers. Yep. Numbers don't mean anything if you don't translate them in anything. You could have 10 supporters that are constantly subscribing to your newspaper. Yep. And there could be an influencer who has 100,000 followers and they're not getting $1. Nothing. They're not getting a dime. They're just posting pictures. They're just posting and fine pictures, you know, but like where does your influence come from? I think that says more about a person. Let's talk about one of your losses. Like, think about a time that you lost.
Honestly, like I've had it's crazy because I haven't even had just one loss. There's multiple losses that I've just endured with just styling. Like, again, I wasn't as equipped as I was before as I am now. So like I would show up late to a styling gig and then all of a sudden it was like they don't want to work with me anymore, or I would show up and it's like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you know what I mean? Like that, it was a serious thing, right? Like if I wanted to get into styling, it was like you need to be on time, you need to come prepared, you need to do this, right? You need to do that. And it was just like there was so much times where it was like I would be on set one time and then they didn't want me again. And it was like, well, what am I doing wrong, right? Or I would go on set and I'd be late, and then it would tell me like I can't come back or something like that.
Would you ask those questions? Like, would you ask somebody like, hey, like why not me for the next time? Yeah,
and for the most part, it was because I was late. It was literally because I was late. I was
Jalen.
I promise you guys, I was a late bird. Okay, I was late to everything. Didn't know time. I thought time ran around me. That was just how I felt. That was just what it was. It was like, oh, it starts at 5. I'm coming for 6. It's fine. Because I'm me, right? Like, that's what it was.
That's in our culture, too.
I realized, it is, and it's really bad. We got to just, fix it up.
We got to do better.
We're getting better. But I realized the value of time and being on time because that's what stopped me from, getting these gigs and stuff. It was my lateness and just my tardiness and just not being, you know, true to what they're about. And I think there was so much losses when it came to styling, to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to give up. And then 2018 came. I just really fixed up, and then that was when I styled Tyra Banks.
Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Well, listen, your work is everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I brought up your name, people already knew who you were. And your work, if you look through the tag section, I see Lick My Fashion. I'm like, okay, Jalen.
Y'all be hyping me. Stop hyping me.
Lick My Fashion. Here's your flowers while you're here.
Yeah.
What is something that entrepreneurship has taught you, even in the pandemic alone? What is one thing that like sticks out to you? Like, okay, I need to hear that.
Patience. That's
I'm kidding.
Especially during the pandemic. Patience and just understanding that like everything is gonna be all right. Like I think during the pandemic, everyone is panicking, they're freaking out, and it's okay. Like, you know, I get it. Like, this is the first time we've kind of experienced something like this, you know, in our generation. So I get it. Everyone's panicking. They don't know what to do. But I think it's the factor of everything's going to be okay. Have patience and just keep going. As much as the world is in, you know, a frenzy and there's things going on, you really just have to keep going, and to keep your mind like right and keep your mind tapped in. And also, guys, can we just stop watching the news all the time?
Facts.
Like, we need to stop watching the news constantly, because I find when we're sitting there looking at, oh my God, the numbers are raising, this, that, you get your mind so confused, and you're like, oh, I can't do this. You get scared. We can't do fear. We can't. If you want to be an entrepreneur, that we cannot do fear. We got to push that acceleration button as far as we can, no matter what's going on in the world. But I think patience is definitely something that I learned during the pandemic, and as being an entrepreneur, that like things don't come right away. Like the analogy I always use is you have to work, right? Then it goes work, pay. Then it goes work, pay. Then it goes work, pay. And then eventually you're getting paid without working, because you've done all the work. So keep that in mind, guys. When you're doing that, it's going to start off as work, just work, and no pay. That's what it is about entrepreneurship too. I think people don't understand that as well. Work, no pay, right? And then it goes work, half pay. Then it goes work, then you're like, then you just get paid, right? So I think that is the whole motive of that. And once you understand that, you will know that entrepreneurship is something that you will love. Because I always tell people too, like, again, do it as if you weren't getting paid, right?
Yes.
Right? Do it as if you were not getting paid, right? Because I know right now, if, you know, they were saying, oh, like, you know, styling, we're not going to pay you anymore, whatever. I'm still doing it because I find purpose in styling. I find purpose in making people look good. So do it even if you're not getting paid, right? And that's something that we also have to understand too, because when we tap into that, we'll do things better at a professional rate. And then when you get paid, it's like, wow, right? So, yes.
I think a lot of, we got some hand claps over there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will put out the amount of work or the quality of work based on what they're getting out of it.
Exactly.
And whatever you attach your name to is a reflection of you. So if you think that I need more money to put out a better quality of work, well, guess what? That quality of work is going to reflect on your ability to get more money later on.
Exactly.
And it does. And it does. And the world is small and people know people. So if you put in out work to my girlfriend and my girlfriend is like, well, look at the work that this person did. I'm like, hey, I didn't know that, but I'm going to know that for next. I'm going to note that for that opportunity.
Yep.
Right. I think a lot of people like just block their blessings in terms of even what you were saying in terms of your age. In your mind, you tell yourself, I deserve to be paid more for this.
Yep.
And it's okay, you will, right? You have to work.
You have to work.
That model, you have to work.
You have to work, yep.
I'm getting too old. Like you said, what are those things that you tell yourself? And that is something I would say I experience. I've had moments I experience fear. And fear is the biggest blocking of your blessing.
Oh, the biggest block.
It's just a nasty, nasty word, you know? And the thing I think is really important, I want people to know that, is that your mind is more powerful than any other tool that you have.
Yep.
So if you have a fearful moment in your head, you're just like, whoa. You know, what do you have to do? I literally talk myself through those moments. I coach myself. I'll be sitting in the middle of my workout and I'm having a moment where I'm just like doubtful. And I'm just like, you know what? You could either let this, you know, take you over and you about to, you know, sulk for a little while and you about to, you know, miss out on the good blessings that are coming your way, or I'm going to change this. I'm a 360 this. And I say those things to myself wherever, whenever I have those moments.
That's me.
I'm not letting it take me over. No, nope, I'm not doing this. I am worthy. I am divine. I am capable. I am able.
Call it on yourself. Listen, when you talk to yourself and you say positive things about yourself, you will see the change, right? So that's one thing too that I want to like stress, like stop doubting yourself and stop talking negatively to yourself. So when you say things like, I'm not going to make it, you won't. Just is what it is. You won't. If you say things like, oh, this is not for me, it won't be for you. If you say things like, I don't know how this is going to work out, it may never work out, right? But if the moment you continuously tell yourself, okay, this is what, we even have to start doing things like, instead of saying, I hope I will. So I will become that person. I will become this entrepreneur. I will become this person of a household name, instead of saying, I hope, right? So I think in those aspects, like really just talk yourself out of that. I do the same thing when I'm having a doubt for a fear for a moment. I'm just like, hey, Jalen, ciao, I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm like, God, check me. I need you to check me because there's so many things happening right now that are great. I'm grateful for everything. So why do I feel like this? Check me right now. And I get checked. I literally get checked. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we're back at it. Like I have to talk myself out of it because it's like if you really like suck yourself in that hole, you won't come out. So the moment I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. I'm like, okay, God, you know what to do. All right. Like, that's how I talk to myself.
Cover me.
I say, cover me, shield me, and things will work out for you. But you have to speak those things on you, right? Because,
definitely,
again, I spoke into existence that I was going to become an entrepreneur in 2020. And here we are 6-7 months later, and I'm still that, right? So I think when you call those things on yourself, definitely, it will manifest. But it all starts with the positivity and what you say about yourself. So, yeah.
The quote of the day is that you just got to stay driven.
Stay driven.
You got to stay driven.
You got to stay driven no matter what. You got to keep your foot on the gas.
You've just released your first ebook, Pandemic Money.
Yes.
If you want to learn how to make money in the pandemic, you give out the gems on your IG Live.
I give out the gem. Oh yeah, the gems. And it's crazy, like even talking about free gems, when you were talking about like people who hold in that information. And I always say this, I feel like if you're a person that continues to hold in like, free information or just information, your brand is not that profitable. If you can't help other people for free, it's really not that profitable. Like you're hiding too many things because you want to make money on every single thing. But it's like, no, let's normalize helping the community. Let's normalize having people not bask in their mediocrity. Let's normalize people living a different standard than what they are now, right? So that's why when I go on my Instagram lives, I tell people, get up, we have work to do. Not just you guys, but I talk to myself. When I'm on those lives, I talk to myself. Get up, Jalen, you have work to do. Stop scrolling on Instagram. Stop scrolling on the shit. Stop scrolling on those things, right? We have stuff to do.
It's a feel-good moment that we're sitting here creating.
Yes.
It's a feel-good moment that it's not even just for like me and you, whoever's watching this.
Whoever's watching.
And for everyone who's here behind the scenes, who's making this run. Right. It's a team effort. Yeah. I think entrepreneurship, a lot of people think that you have to do everything on your own. And I was at that point too. And I was just like, you know what? This kid is just eating up my the whole day. Yeah. Mommy, mom. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? I can't focus. I have to be real with myself. To start, stop. I can't do that kind of work ethic, right? So I had to find the model that worked best for me. And so I grew my team and I got people who were good at what they did and let them focus on that so I could focus on what I was doing.
And that's smart.
Because if I had to do it all by myself, if I had to do the branding, if I had to do like all the sponsorships, if I had to do everything, like I wouldn't know where to start. And so I just want to send that message out to people that you don't have to do everything by yourself. And it's actually stronger when you have a solid team.
You heard that, guys, right? It's actually stronger when you have a team. That's going to really scale you to the next level in your business. Like that's how you're going to make those figures is because when you have a team, that's what's going to build that. That's what's going to actually build that knowledge, build that wealth when you have a team. When you have that whole mindset of like, I can do it on my own, you're not going to scale where you want. You're going to need that assistant because, things you want to be focusing on certain things. You're going to want that brand manager. You're going to want that manager because you want to focus on certain things that you just want to focus on.
Definitely.
So I always encourage people, don't think that you have to do everything on your own and don't think that it's the right thing to always do everything on your own. Sometimes let somebody else take care of the creative because you're not good at that. It's okay. Like that some things are okay to do that. And the same thing with me. That's why I had to get an assistant because there's certain things that I don't care to do, right? I'm just like, I can't do this. But she comes in, she deals with it. I'm like, okay, cool, bomb. So it's okay, right?
4 hands build a house faster than 2 hands. But we'll just leave it at that. Give some inspiration for someone who's getting into fashion per se. What can they do? Like give them where you started, where life was before, right? What can they do to tap into how you've gotten to where you are now?
The first things first is be ready. That's number one. I think that one thing I don't do is I don't tell people start a business if your mind's not clear. Like if your mind's not clear, if you don't know what you want to do, like if your mind's not in the right mindset, I will tell you, okay, work on the mindset first and then go into the business, because I feel like when you go into the business with a wrong mindset, the business becomes wrong also. So I think I always stress that first. Number two, just do your research. I think I love to learn. I'm a learner. So as much as I could have a following and people look up to me, I also look up to people and I learn from my audience, right? So if I'm doing something wrong, I take that into account and see how I can fix it. They always say too that, being a number two is always better than being a number one. It's okay to learn. It's okay to be that number two.
Definitely.
It's all right. Like, it's okay to always learn, because when you learn, you're always going to scale. So do your research, guys, and make sure you guys learn and understand too, consistency. Just be consistent in what you're doing. Literally, I think that's one of the biggest things I would suggest is just, do your research, get into the habit, have a business plan, and be consistent in your craft. Be consistent for 6 months, and I promise you'll only be in a different place. Just 6. Give me 6 months. Just 6. 6 months, and I promise you, you will not be the same entrepreneur that you were from then till now. But you have to be consistent. And I think without that, you won't scale. One thing I want to leave you guys with is procrastination is costly. Disobedience is expensive. So the moment you procrastinate, you will always lose. You're always going to lose. Always think about you procrastinating as losing money, right? Same thing for stocks, right? When it goes up and down, think of it like that. Procrastination is costly and disobedience is expensive. So the moment you disobey, you lose so much money. It becomes more and more expensive. So continue to really graduate that. And yeah, that's it. That's what I would give the people,
When Jalen drops the gems, you gotta pick them up. Keep it going. Episode number 1 of the Park Car Conversation, season 2. Driven, you embody that. You embody that. You just stay driven. I can't wait to see what's in store for you.
Thank you.
There's
going
to be more in store for us in the future.
There's going to be more. And
we're proclaiming that right now.
I'm excited. I'm glad that, you have me on this platform. Again, I'm so excited to just be here, sitting here right now, just having some fun. And yes, and just to end off the note, if you guys are looking to scale your business to the next level and just scale yourself and be you, I dropped a book called Pandemic Money. It talks about how to scale your business to the next level. I did that. I made a scale of 5 to 6 figures in the first 6 months of entrepreneurship. So
say that again, Jalen.
Just from being in a pandemic.
Jalen, say that again so people know.
So I scaled, from my brand from 0 to 5 figures, literally in
the pandemic.
In the pandemic. So there's time, and remember, people want things. You know what I mean? Package your product and sell it. You have a talent. Sell your product. Sell the talent.
And own it.
And own it too. And own it, okay? So I always tell people that. Don't just sit there and not do anything with your talent. Monetize your talents, guys. You guys all have a talent. And I don't want nobody to tell me they don't have a talent. You all have a talent. You all have a gift. Use that. Monetize that. And be consistent in it.
That is a word, y'all. I want to say to everyone who has followed the Park Car Conversation journey, who has commented, who has shared, who has liked, who has saved, who's just left like heartfelt messages, questions, thank you, because we could not have gotten to where we are right now. And so where we're going to go, remember that post I put in the end of 2020, I said, I'm going to accept things. And so I'm going to invite things into my life, and good things, because I'm worthy and I am capable. Clearly. Clearly.
Yes.
And I love that. I've learned to love that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I've learned that I can just fully bask in everything that I'm meant to be. And so what's happening next for the Park Car Conversation? We're just going to go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. The production levels in it bigger. The team is getting bigger.
Yep.
The people that we have, I think I want to say bigger, but we just want to continue to have amazing people on. And there definitely are some things to look forward to for the Park Car Conversation. I don't know, should we leak some of those things?
I don't know if we should leak it yet. No, I don't think so, because
I'm getting no vibes. Period. I'm getting no vibes.
I'm proud of you for actually starting this, because we don't really see a lot of people taking the initiative to do stuff like that. So even just you saying, we did this in the cold.
Freezing.
That's drive. You know what I mean? That's work ethic.
Finger them almost fell off.
Yeah, almost fell off, and you still did it, right? And that's how you know that you're walking in your purpose, because even though you were cold, or even though you didn't want to do one season, you still got it done. So I was actually really excited to be on it, because I would watch all of them and I'm like, This is lit. Like, this is so dope. Like, why am I not on an episode? So I'm glad to actually be on an episode finally. So it's really, grateful. And I know a lot of people always say, like, as much as I have a following, like, who cares about that? Like, I'm human. When I like somebody's work, I like somebody's work. So it's always an honor to be a part of somebody else's progress and somebody else's success, because
That's
I can
beautiful.
see that. So it's awesome. I love it.
And and I think, just to speak on that, because I've aligned myself with you, I've aligned myself with Frontier Fine Cars.
Yeah.
I think that when you align it, like if you're parked up in a car, I always said to like the students at the school, if you're in a garage full of people doing a certain thing and they're not doing that thing, what do you think you're going to do? And they're like, miss, do what they do. And I said, okay. And let's say you were to put yourself in an environment where people are talking about their dreams, they're bigging each other up, they're talking about their growth, they're talking about how they're going to the next step. What do you think you're going to do?
You're going to go to the next step.
And it's as simple as that. So I think, just keeping this energy within you.
Of course.
You having your down days. It's okay. It happens to the best of us. It happens.
Does, always.
And, you find yourself in the presence of, Black excellence right here. And I'm about to go home and get to work.
We got to get to work.
I'm about to go home and get to work.
We got to get to work, and I'm excited to see the next episodes, and it's going to be dope. So continue to push. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you,
Black
Jay.
excellence right here.
Ooh, I love it. I'm here for it.
Like,
I stand.
It's just the energy. Just the energy's dope, and it's great. So continue to push that, because I'm going to be watching with my popcorn and all that. So